But why doesn't the control arm come loose? Hello everybody and welcome to day 56 of my Jaguar S-Type restoration project. Already for last week I had planned to fit clutch packs into my transmission, but then I recognized some issue with the big piston inside the B-drum. Unfortunately all the stores are closed here in Austria, so I couldn't go for the required replacement part, and I decided to attempt the car's front suspension here right behind me. In the first step I will have to remove the brake caliper that's attached with two big bolts here at the rear. Bolt size is 15mm hex each. This is the first one. First bolt is out. And the number two. Fortunately there's a cutout here, so the caliper doesn't fall down as soon as it's detached. I should now be able to remove the caliper, but actually the brake pads and the disc stick together, obviously because of rust. I guess it would be necessary to relieve the brake pads because of this edge here. They're adjusted to the worn disc. And I have to try to get those down together with the disc. There's no tiny bolt, but two of these locking washers that have to be removed first. Number one. And the second. Okay, now I have to take care not to damage the braking line. So no tension on this line now, perfect. I have now access to this nut that connects the steering assembly to the suspension. Size here is 18mm hex. Oh yes, I'm turning and turning, but nothing gets loose, because the stud here inside has to be counterholded with a hex key while undoing the nut. Of course the problem with that is that I can't use my big tools. Okay, that seems to be a 5mm. seems I'm lucky and the stud in the middle doesn't strip out. Now I have to protect the steering assembly from falling down. Okay. So and what we have now here is pure suspension parts. I guess I will now take away this connector here. Looks like 15 hex. And actually it is. I guess this part can't be rebuilt and has to come new. Oh yes. Again, it's spinning and nothing moving because there's a bolt head on the other side that must be counter-holded. This seems like 13 hex, but no space for a socket. Yes, 13 hex. Obviously, they don't expect the workshops to be equipped with 2 wrenches or sockets of the same size. Okay. The head to counterhold is very small and you can only hold this in place in a certain angle. I guess I do this the other way. In the workshop, of course, they use an impact wrench and in 1 second everything is loose. Let's try one of those. This should lock in place by itself. Perfect. Okay, little things often make the biggest problems. Here it goes. Can't even get out the bolt because one suspension arm is attached here on the other side. Have to memorize this for the reassembly. So let's proceed with one of the 2 lower suspension arms. This nut is 21 hex and this must be counter-holded here at the rear. 20 is too big, 18 is the correct size here. And surprisingly, they left a hole here inside the subframe, so this bolt can be knocked out the other side. Kind of a washer here, and also on the other side, but this washer seems connected with the bolt. What's going on here? Okay, I guess this just has to be turned into another direction because it's asymmetric to fit into this hole, and it fits perfectly. No, still isn't all the way through, but now I will leave this extension here inside, so the arm doesn't drop down while I'm loosening the bolt on the other side. Of course the camera angle has to be changed for this. And here we go on the other side. That's a 15mm hex, and the counter holding requires a bigger one. Actually that's 18 here, but I guess I do it the other way, because the wrench will lock itself on this side. So I choose a 15 for here, and the 18 socket for underneath. But this requires a long socket. Let's give it a try. Voila! And actually comes out by itself almost. Put back the bolt so I know where it belongs. So now I'm pulling out the extension and should be able to remove the control arm, and here it is. Now let's attempt the second control arm. Getting this nut loose again requires counter holding with the 5mm hex key, which means I can't use a socket again. Size is 18mm hex again. Sorry, that's not the elegant way, but I guess there's no other solution for this problem. These wrenches are simply too short to get any leverage on them.
Yeah.
Okay, the nut is loose, but I don't want to knock this down until the upper arm is detached. Unfortunately, this joint here is a press fit, so I can't get this out now. I have to go for some specialized equipment until next time, but what I have is a T60 to get the lower end of the gas strut loose, hopefully. Okay. So, okay, still doesn't want to let go, of course, because it's tightened here at the rear. So let's get this nut loose also. But here's a sensor that has to be detached before. Of course, that's not an 8mm hex, it's a 10. But of course, no chance without counter holding. 13. No, of course not. 12, no. It's a 10 on the other side. This sensor is obviously measuring the suspension angle. Maybe that has to do something with the ABS system, I don't know. Attempting now the inner side. Undoing is 21, counter holding 18mm hex. Oh, not a big deal. And it already drops down. Didn't think about the sensor again. Maybe I can detach this now. Obviously this side has to be spread apart. Yes, 1, 2. Now come on. Yes. What? Hope there's enough space for the bolt coming out on this side. Yes. And the final part to remove will be the gas strut with the spring. But first I'm gonna remove the lost bolt here inside. Luckily there's also a hole on the rear of the subframe. Therefore I must undo the bolts here inside the engine compartment. Those are 4. The middle one mustn't be detached because this holds the strut together with the spring. Bolt size is 13mm hex. Of course this will now drop down and I would need a second person for underneath the car. Maybe I can achieve this alone. Yes, of course. So, that's the last bolt. Hoppala. Voila. I've still missed out on the upper control arm. That's not a big deal. 2 times 15mm hex. The bolts attach only to these parts of the body and don't stick through into the engine compartment. There's a washer that's spinning with the bolt and causes scratches here inside. And also banded the material here. But why doesn't the control arm come loose? Let's try it also on this side. Okay, it's sticking through on this side also. That's no good. Yeah, now I figured out that this upper control arm is actually attached from the inside also. There's one bolt here underneath the electrical connectors at the rear side. And the second one even more hidden behind the fuse box, so I know now where to counter hold. Counter holding, by the way, requires a 17mm wrench. It's also a big washer. I hope this doesn't get lost now. Here it is, and actually the washer is connected to the nut. Same on the rear side. Oh. That's what I don't like. Okay, I guess the second side is detached as well, and actually it is. Voila, the upper control arm with 2 unwanted side effects, but this should be fixed somehow. That's it already for today. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe even subscribe. Also consider watching some of my other content suggested in the end screen. See you back on my channel next week. Goodbye.